This is Gemara Zevachim Daf Mem Aleph, and we're actually going to pick it up. We'll go back a drop to Mem Beis, the final teretz, in which the Gemara says, Ella Parel Davar Shal Tzibur V'Sir Shal Kippurim. It's going to be about 6 lines to the bottom. First word on line is Ha'elam, and once again, we like all the learning to be an incredible schos refuah shlema for Gabriel Simcha ben Miriam Ahuva. The incredible Kayach HaTaira, Talmud Torah Berabim, Torah, which is not the easiest of dafim, should continue to bring Gabriel Simcha ben Miriam Ahuva an incredible refuah shalema. Says the Heilige Gemara, Laparlam Davar Shal Tzibur V'Siri Shal Yom Kippurim. Says the Gemara that what we have to say is that the karbanos are not the same in their min, yet they're same in their maisa, in the procedure, in the way that they're done. V'achi kamar, and this is what is pshat. This is continuing to explain Shitas Rabbi Yishmael. Says the Gemara, Uma b'makav shel carbon lekarbon, in a place that the two karbanos are not the same. What does it mean they're not the same? They're not the same items. What do you mean they're not the same item? Because this one is a par of Ayisayir. The par of Davar Shal Tzibur and the Seresh Yom Kippurim. It's two different animals. One's a par, one's a seer. Even though they're not the same, yet Hoshu Maisim Lamaisim, yet their actions are the same. Regarding that which it says explicitly by them. So Makov Shehoshu Carbon Le Carbon. So says the Gemara, in a place where the two karbanos are the same as is the chatas of the Kohen Gadol and the other chatas of Yom Kippurim, which is the high fire, the high par, they're both parim. Einoi din, is it not pashe that what? As we turn over, and today we have the daf in front of us, daf mem aleph, einoi din, that what, shehoshvu maisim, lemaisim, that we're going to say that the procedures are going to be the same. Va'osa le paryam el kippurim nami, and then what's going to come out? That the par of Yom Kippur is going to come have the same dinam of le'es and the din of vidam with regarding utvila, with regarding mipar koyin Mashiach, the halachos of the quantity of blood, the halachos of, let's say that there is a blister on the finger, that we're going to learn out from the par of the koyin gadol, the koyin Mashiach. And therefore, Vasilei Seir Yom Kippurim, and the Seir of Yom Kippur will also, even though the Seir is not a par, obviously, it's not the same animal, still, Misiri Avodas Kechavim. We'll learn it out from a Kavachimer of Avodah Zara. So now that last line is the leap of faith, in which, Mikavachimer, which the Gemara jumps right away. Chidavar Alavin Vehakish. Chayzer Melamid V'Kal V'Chaymer, says the Gemara, there's 2 steps over here, and this is one within itself. How can you say that A is learned out from a Hekish, and then in itself is going to come and teach through a Kal V'Chaymer? Says the Gemara, that is illegal. So Amar Papa Kasavar, I'll tell you why. Kasavar Tanat Vei Rav Yishmael. Tanat Vei Rav Yishmael holds, indeed, it's not illegal. Says the Gemara, so now let's continue with what Rabbi Yishmael meant. Lepar is the parallel of Davar Shal Tzibur. Habesir Gufeiksiv. Says the Gemara, what do you mean? But the psukim themselves are written by the parallel of Davar Shal Tzibur. So why do we need to have an extra of a lipar teaching us it's a par of Davar Shal Tzibur? Amar Papa Mishon the Boy Agmure Par Helem Davar Shal Tzibur B'Yoseres. Excuse me, because we wanted to learn Ushtei Kloyos L'Siri Avodas Kechavim. Says Gemara, says Papa, you know why? Because we have a slight nuance of difference. because the Paral Davar Shal Sibor needs a hekish to teach us that the halacha with regarding the yoseres, the halacha regarding the shtei klayos. What is that halacha? The halacha that the yoseres, the diaphragm, the shtei klayos, the two kidneys, are burned on the mizbeach will be the same as the seir of avodas gechavim, and uparam davar shel tzibur bekufei like sev. But by the param davar shel tzibur does not say this explicitly, and therefore be'keisha asi. So itzrach, therefore we need lepar. So that's why the cold kasha was, what do we need par? It's the same thing. Says Mar, no, we needed lepar. In order that it should be as if the halacha is written explicitly, so that it's not the same. So the extra drasha comes to almost jump that we don't need this extra kalva chaymer, this extra hekish. Says the Gemara. Now let's bring a raya to what we just said. A little bit of a complicated limud, but says the Gemara, Tanya Kavasi Derapapa, I want to bring you a raya. Va'asa kasher asa. Says the Gemara by Apalam Davar Shel Sibor, the Torah could have said, Va'asa sheka asa, you do what you got to do. Umatam leim lepar, says the Bryce, lefi shenemar, because we already have by the seir, they may view as karbanam ishal Hashem v'goymer. Cause already have that pasuk chatasam elusiri avoid zechavim. The pasuk is chatasam. That's what about the seir of the zara. Shigigasam zepalam davar shel sibor. Chatasam al shigasam continues the pasuk. So amra teira chatasam arehi lecha kishigasam. The chatas is like a shoygig. The chatos, the seir of the seir of Avodah Zarah is the same as the paralam davar shel tzibur. What way is it the same? That you both have to burn these extra parts of the carbon. The yoseres, the shtei klayos, need to be burned. Shegasa mechan lamad knows by the shaygeg. Loi behekisha is not through a hekish of the param davar kain gadol. Chidavar alamid behekish asked the brayso chosem alamid behekish. So says the brayso, you're right, and you don't need to say that. So rather, how do you say it? Tamar loymar lipar zeparam davar shel tzibur lipar zepar kain Mashiach. And says the Gemara, so you have a brayso mamish spelling it out just as we spelled it out. That instead of having davar alavid mehekish chayzer melamid v'kal v'chaymer, instead of that, the Gemara comes along and the Gemara manages to learn it out from the extra lepar, equating the two. That the yiseres, the shtei klayos of the par of the kohen gadol are burnt, so too of the param davar shel tzibur, and the extra lepar creates this hekish, and therefore it's as if it's written explicitly. And that's why it'll be able to be extended to the seir through another hekish, and you're not going to need the kalva chaymer. So says the Gemara, now that we've proved Rav Papa, Amar Mar, let's dive a little bit deeper. Chatasam elusir avodas chavim. Says the Gemara, table mikra kama. What do you mean? Why do you learn it out from the first pasuk? Amar Mar, ha chatas lerabbis siri avodas chavim. Answers the Gemara, Amar Papa. It's the Reisal. I would have thought this only by the Hazayos that are written explicitly. However, as we turn over to Mem Aleph and Beis, Avol the din that we're trying to learn of the Yiseres Shtei Klayos like Kasina Begufei Eimaloi, we would have thought that maybe perhaps the din does not apply. Kamash Mlan. That's why we need the extra drasha of Lipar. That's why you need extra drasha, of the chatas al shigasam, that we have this extra hekish that it's going to apply to both. Continues the Gemara, and that really was a little bit of a difficult amid that piggybacked off of the previous discussion. But continues the Gemara now, really going back to that which we learned in yesterday in Mem Amud Aleph, the din of Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak regarding that all of the hazayos, all the zrikos, I should say, of the par of Yom Kippurim are ikr. Rav Papa came along and said, no, rather we have the S and we have the dam. And he said it comes to teach the din of dipping into the blood. And we had a raya. Says the Gemara, 1 second. Let's go back into that discussion. Omar le Rav Huna Breder Rav Nalson le Rav Papa. Breder Rav Nalson. Le Rav Papa, according to Rav Papa. No, one more time. Omar Rav Huna Breder Rav Nalson. Rav Huna, the son of Rav Nalson, said, Le Rav Papa. Vatana. But the Tana, who we had in the Braisa, that what? Le Rabbis or Paryam Kippurim. Chomash Amar Binyan Kamar. I don't understand. We need it for whatever the psukim are talking about. So ask the Gemara, how do we have an extra word to teach us? As we suggested back in Mem and Aleph, that all of them are going to be considered Iker. Answers the Gemara. As Rashi points out, Amakum Melsa Yalav Mina, Vafilu Ikuva. Vata Amri last time it's Tefillah, and you told me a totally different din. So answers the Gemara, you're right. Tanoi, this is going to be a Machleges Tanoim, whether it's going to be Iker, whether it's going to be essential, all the different Zrikos of Yom Kippurim. Says the Gemara, Tana Dvei Rav, May Rabbi Marbi Hachi, learned as we learned. Tana Dvei Yishmael, Loi Marbi Hachi, did not learn in that way. So says the Gemara, Tana Dvei Rabbi Yishmael, let's go a little bit further. Or Vitana Dvei Rabbi Yishmael, Mibnei Man Eber Yosef Shtei Aklayos B'Par Koyin Mashiach, L'Nemer B'Bar Elam Davar Shel Tzibur, Mashal L'Mel Masav, then I'll tell you why. It's like a king. That what happened, Shazam Alo Yavai, he's very upset at a friend of his beloved, Umiyad B'Sir Chaynai, V'Mechi Basai, but doesn't really talk about what his friend did to him. Why? Because he loves him. So says the Gemara, so too Klal Yisrael, so too, let's allow Rashi to spell out this beautiful drasha, so too, Miyad B'Sir Chaynai Kitzur B'Dvarim, so too HaKadosh Baruch Hu is beloved by Hashem. Therefore Hashem doesn't talk about it out the Averis of Klal Yisrael. But Tana Dvei Rabbi Yishmael, Mimnei Emra Pareiches HaKodesh, B'Par Koyin Mashiach. Why does it supposed to say the Pareiches HaKodesh, the current of the holy, by the Par Koyin Mashiach? V'loi Ne'amar Bar Elam Davar Shel Tzibur. Mashal HaMelech B'Atzah Adam Shezar Chol HaMedina. The nation rebelled. Im Yata Sircha. If only a minority of the people did it, then the government stays intact. So the Torah minimize it, so to make it as if only the Kohen Gadol was one that did the Aveira, so that the Beis Hamikdash retains its Kedusha. So too HaKadosh Baruch Hu withdraws some of his holiness to make it as if it's not such a big deal, the Aveira that was done. Says the Gemara, let's go into the last din in the Mishnah. We're about 20 lines down at the 2 dots, Lefikach. And Nosan Kula and Kitikanan, talk about the Chatois, the Zrikais on Mizbeach Panimi. If all of them are applied properly and one is improper, we said it's possible, but there's no karis. Says the Gemara Tanan Asam, Pigel B'Kaimetz. If there's pigel during the kaimetz, during the kemitza, the 3 fingers of the carbon mincha of the flour, v'lei b'levayna, but not during the levayna, or b'levayna v'lei b'kaimetz, or me'amr pigel v'chamin lav kares, v'chachamim might remain by kares, achi yifago b'chol ha'matir, until there's pigel by everything that makes it mutter, and therefore in this case, since it's only by part of it, it's not by both the mincha and the levayna, there'll be no pigel. Explains the Gemara Shitas Rameir Amr of Shimon Lakish Lo Tematim Der Rameir Dexavim Falgin Bachatzi Matir. Don't say the Rameir is coming along to tell us that there's going to be pegol even during part of something that's Matir. Elahacha b'mayaskina gun shenasan es hakoymetz b'machshava. Says the Gemara, the Chachamim seemingly we understand simply that what is only pegol b'chol hamatir. What does our mayor hold? Our mayor, does he hold that there's going to be pickle even at b'chol hamatir? Says the Gemara, no. Rather, what does our mayor hold? Because the koyim is b'machshava. That was talking about over here, v'alavayna b'shtika. That the koyim put the koyim on the mizbeach with, he had a machshavas pegel, and then he put the lavayna down b'shtika quietly with no kavana at all. Or the opposite, he put the lavayna down with a machshavas pegel, and then he put the koyim down quietly. In this case, it's pegel. Why? Because savar koloisa al das rishoyne who I said because the machshavas shtika piggybacks on the original machshava that was pigel, and that's why he creates pigel. Says the Gemara, mimai midiktani, from the fact that the Mishnah says lafikam nasan kulin kitikanon v'acha shaloi kitikanon pasol vein by kares ha'acha shaloi kitikanon ve'kulon kitikanon pigel. Mani, who's going to be our Mishnah? Ilim Rabbana, and it can't be. I'm Rabbana Mafalgim Chatzi Matir. Ela Rameir, must be Rameir. V time the Rameir Mishnah Mafalgim Chatzi Matir. Who? I feel like it Dani Nami. If that was Shittas Rameir, then even in the case that the Mishnah says explicitly, where you did 3 good and 1 not good, it should also be pegel. Why does the Mishnah say that there's no kares? Because you did 3 bad, 3 good, and then the last one is no good. So we assume that it's like Aldas Rishayna. So that's the raya to Shittas Rameir. So if you did 3 good and 1 not good, it's not going to be pigel. But if you did 1 pigel and then 1 shtika, then it will be. Says the Gemara, no raya. And with this we conclude. Amar Shmuel Bar Yitzchak La'ilam Rabbanani. My kitikanan. What does the Mishnah mean when he says he did a kitikanan? Kitikanan lipegel, like the original pegel. Says Gemara, 1 second. Mechlal obvious diok the tikana lechshira hudasa means hechsher, doesn't mean like the pegel. Amar Rava, says Rava, my shaloi kitikanan chutz limekaymai. Rav Ashi Amar shaloi lishmai. That's what it means. Not a full-fledged machshavas pegel. And that's the reason why there's going to be no kares. Mechlal. Tchilavid. La chutz lemekayma v'shlo lishma mechayvin. Aydan areisha pegel v'chavim lav kares and nami seifa. Pasol ve'ein by kares. But really the Mishnah is going within the sheet of the Chachamim. Stop over here. I'll pick it up in the 2 dots. B'siyata dishmaya.